Okay, so you should put this in your notes. It's another application of implicit differentiation problem. And yeah, you definitely want to put it in your notes and use it as an example. This matches with free response C, part C on your homework, I believe. So it says, consider the curve given by the equation, gives it there. It's implicit differentiation, so it shows us that the derivative equals y over 3y squared minus x. And it asks us to evaluate the second derivative at the point on the curve where x equals negative 1 and y equals 1. So we're basically going to take the derivative of the derivative. Now, it's implicit differentiation all over again, except that this right here is a quotient. So we have to use quotient rule, which is low, so we take 3y squared minus x, d high, derivative of y is y prime, minus high, which is y, d low, derivative of the bottom here is going to be 6y, y prime minus 1, all over low squared, 3y squared minus x squared. But it doesn't just want us to find the second derivative. Now, if this is a free response, you're going to get points for finding the second derivative, but it asks us to evaluate it. It asks us to find a number. The problem is we've got three variables. We've got x, and we know what x is. It says x equals negative 1. We've got y, and we know what y is. It's y equals 1. But we've also got y prime. And we don't know what y prime the number is. So we can't quite figure this out yet. What we can do, however, is we have the derivative. We know what dy over dx is. We know what y prime is. And we also have a y and an x. We have y equals negative 1 and y equals 1 and x equals negative 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug those numbers in to the derivative. So I'm going to try to do that down here if I can. So I've got y over 3y squared minus x. Y is going to be 1. So this is y prime. Y is 1 over 3y squared. So you're going to have 3 times 1 squared minus x. X is negative 1. So we just took the derivative. We plugged x and y in. Now we're going to simplify this. It's going to be 1 over 3 plus 1. So we're going to get 1/4. So y prime is 1/4. And I'll go ahead and put it up here so we don't forget it. Y prime at this specific spot is going to be 1/4. All right. So I'm going to get rid of this now. We'll keep the second derivative up there. So now we've got our second derivative with three variables. And we know what those three variables are. We know what x is, we know what y is, we know what y prime is. So at this point, it is straight up just plugging it in, substituting, and solving. So we'll start down here at the bottom. We got 3y squared minus x on top. That's going to be 3. Y is going to be 1, so 1 squared. Minus x, x is negative 1. Put that in brackets because it's all getting multiplied by y prime, which is 1/4. Minus, we've got a y, which is 1. 6 times y is 1, times y prime is 1/4. Minus 1, all over, the bracket, 3, y is going to be 1 squared, minus negative 1 squared. And at this point, it is just algebra. So I'm going to go ahead and clear the second derivative out here at the top so that we can go ahead and finish this problem. All right. So at this point, we're just simplifying, so let's go ahead and do that. We'll start with the bracket on top. 3 times 1 squared is 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Minus negative 1 is plus 1. Times 1/4. Minus 1 times, what's in brackets? 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 1/4 is going to be 6/4, which simplifies to 3/2. 3/2 minus 1 all over, let's see here, another bracket, 1 squared is 1, 3 times 1 is 3, minus negative 1 is plus 1 squared. And if you want to stop the video here and simplify it yourself, you can. But for those of you who want to keep following along and make sure you do it right, I'm going to go ahead and erase the bottom here, and we'll keep going. All right, so 3 plus 1, we're going back to the top where those brackets are. 3 plus 1 is 4 times 1/4 minus, let's see, you're going to have 1 times, let's see, 3/2 minus 1. We're going to change 1 to 2 over 2. So you have 3/2 minus 2 over 2. So that's going to give you 1 times 1/2 in the brackets there. Over 3 plus 1 is 4 squared. Next step, we'll go back to the top here. 4 times 1/4, starting here at the top, is 1. Minus 1 times 1/2 is 1/2. 4 squared is 16. 1 minus 1/2 is 1/2 divided by 16. And when we multiply by the reciprocal, 1 over 16, you're going to get 1/2 times 1 over 16. So the answer is going to be 1 over 32. So it's a lot of work, it's a lot of algebra, but the concept is relatively simple. So those are actually, in my opinion, of all the different implicit differentiation questions you can get, those are some of the easier points.